checking I'm all set with the stream. We good? Good evening, everybody. Very good to have you with us here at Kennet Valley Free Church this evening. My name is Tom Wetherell, and I'm on the staff team here at the church. It's really good to see you. And a particularly warm welcome to Brett Parker, who is joining us this evening, our special guest, who's going to be being interviewed tonight, and we're going to hear some of his story. I know for some of you here, it's a significant evening. It's the Great British Bake Off final, so thank you for coming out anyway. And I know for some of you, that's the reason that you're here, is because it's on in your house, so a special welcome to you as well. Now, we're going to hear from Brett in just a few minutes, but I've just got a few bits of housekeeping as we start. Hopefully, you've had some refreshments on your way in. There's going to be another chance to get some more a little bit later after the first part of the interview. Loos are through the foyer, through the double doors, and they're on your right. So if you need to make use of those, please do. In terms of COVID and guidance, we'd appreciate it if you've got a mask to wear a mask whilst moving around the building, just to be respectful of others who are more anxious. That would be great. So we're here to hear from Brett this evening, and I'm not going to kind of give any spoilers about his story, but let me just introduce Richard, who's going to be interviewing Brett. Richard McCowell is a member of the church here. He's also a mentor and a friend of Brett's, and I want to thank you for joining us as well, Richard. Let me invite you both up to come and join us. Let's give them a warm hand as they come up.
Well, thank you very much for coming along this evening, Brett.
Okay.
We've known each other for 6 years now.
Yes.
And I found your story absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
And we're going to be looking at it in two parts this evening.
Okay.
So first half an hour we'll talk about, should we call it your former life?
Okay.
And then towards the end you'll be talking, or you'll be telling us about your new life in Jesus. So perhaps we could just start the ball rolling with telling us a bit about your upbringing, and where you're from, the area you lived and your parenting, that sort of thing. Are you able to do that?
Okay. Yes. Thank you for listening tonight. Thank you very much. Yeah. I started off living in Bolton with my mother and my father, and things got very challenging is the word I'll use. Very challenging. My mother and my father were an alcoholic. My father used to beat my mother. That's the only word I'll use. Beat my mother. And it used to be a regular thing in that I thought was normality, really, because it used to happen every single weekend that was there to be, the only word I'll use, to be very challenging. So the only thing that I used to do was to pinch their alcohol, hide under the stairs, and just drink to numb the pain more than anything. Drink to numb the pain. My father, when Monday had come, my father had acted as though everything was finally okay. Everything was okay and everything was right until the next week. And when the next week happened, it had happened again and again and again and again, you know. So the only thing that I used to do was, like I said, used to drink to numb the pain, numb the challenges that I used to have, you know, because it was very, very challenging and very, very, how can I say, very, very frightening more than anything, frightening, you know. So it was like an everyday occurrence to go to the hospital, broken bones my mother used to have, God bless her, right? And, right, it was things that I used to be frightened of more than anything, frightened of the weekends. I used to ask friends if I could go and stay at their house because I knew what was going to happen. Yeah, and then as time went on, I started hanging around with crowds that was older than me. I just then thought that I would be accepted, that I would be loved, that I would be wanted more than anything, wanted. So when people started to give me the guidance, well, it's not the guidance, when people used to give me the love, the caring, everything else, I used to just grasp that with both hands, you know, I did. So at about 11 years old, I was hanging around with people that was a lot older than myself. There was like showing me love and affection, really, but really they wasn't. They were showing me how to be the only word I'll use, to be the Julie. I used to do everything for him because I wanted to be wanted. Yeah? So then I'll skip forward a few years. Now this is where things start to change drastically. Because by the time I was 14, I was in a detention centre for fighting. Yeah, I come out of the detention centre. I was drinking. I started drinking when I was 7 years old to stop the pain and stop the worry. But then when I did started drinking and started thinking that I was wanted, yeah, one Friday night I got into a car with my friend, a stolen car, yeah, going up Blackpool Road. We got hit by another car. We was in a Capri. We got hit by another car. I was stuck in the car for 6 hours, my legs. My friend who was driving the car was dead at the side of me. Yeah, took him about 4 or 5 hours to get us out of the car. Yeah, my friend dead. And myself, really, the only word I can use is in limbo, really, because I didn't know where to go, didn't know what to do, didn't know anything whatsoever, you know. So I was in hospital for 2 years. I was told I'd never walk again in my life. Yeah, I walk around now with great difficulty, you know. But I walk, you know. Then I started meeting ladies, yeah. And them ladies was the missing link for me. Was the missing link where, right, I didn't want anything. I didn't, right? And the thing I'll say now is, right, I didn't want sex. I didn't want a roof over my head. I didn't want anything. The missing link that I wanted was to be loved and wanted. To be loved, wanted, and felt something that I had never ever had before. So when these things started to happen with the lady, right, the obsession, yes, the control, the demanding, the domineering. Before I carry on, if I'm upsetting anybody when I carry on, I apologize, because the Lord has entered my head today to say everything that I need to say to make me feel better in myself, right? And as the second half goes, when we do the second bit of the interview, then you will understand a lot more that, right, the control, the demanding, the word that I'll use is, hitting, yes, hitting, controlling, telling the lady what to do, where to go, who to speak to. I did it all. I did it all because of the word. The only word I can use is fear. I did it because of the fear of being left on my own, because I had been on my own for a lot of years. I'd been on my own for a lot of years. I had had nobody to love me, nobody to care for me, nobody to be there to talk to, right? I mean, just saying one example, if my mother give me a love or let me sit on a knee or whatever, she'd get a bang. He would hit her. He would hit my mother, right? So, right, when I lost control of my feelings and my thoughts and everything else, the only thing that I had to control them things was alcohol. But with alcohol was violence in my life, right? So when it got to the stage where in and out of jail, in and out, right? And then, right, the 24th of December, 2005, yes, I got into an altercation with a guy. A guy was trying to say to me, I'm the boss. Not them words, but I'm the boss, right? And I went into the kitchen, I grabbed a knife and I stabbed him, right? I stabbed him. I mean, like I said, I'm going to tell the truth, the whole truth, right? I stabbed him. I went to prison, right? And I went to prison for a life sentence. I didn't get out of jail. The first time I got out of jail, right, was 2011. I got out. But then, right, Brett's way was the best way. So then, in and out of jail, right? In and out were, right, I didn't know any life. I didn't have any life, right? I didn't have any life. I went to jail. I was 6 stone, right? I was nothing, you know? And, right, sclerosis of the liver I have got, right? Because of the alcohol, right? But now, as time goes on, right, I then went to jail, right, on the recalls, and I was due to come back out of jail May the 30th, 2017, and I was in jail, and I was fed up of the life that I was in, right? I tried Jesus, I tried God, I tried the in and out, and it didn't work. When I used to go to court, right? Oh, God, please help me. I'll turn my life over to you this time, I promise. Just to people please things, right? But this time, things was different. Things was different for me, because when I was coming out of Warren Hill prison in 2017, right, I got on my knees in that prison cell and I said, Lord, I've had enough now. I said, you take my life. You take it. It's yours. Let's do things your way and let's see what happens. And this was 2017, May the 30th. Yep. And I haven't had a drink since. I haven't had a drink since. I haven't had a cigarette since. I haven't had any violence. I haven't had anything that I used to have compared to what I do have now.
Brett, can I just stop you just for a minute and ask a question about prison life?
Yes.
Because prison obviously is
Okay.
they're locking you up for purpose.
Okay.
And so tell
Can
us
I
about...
just stop you there?
Yeah, please.
Richard, right, and like I said, I'm going to say everything. They locked me up because I was a danger to the public. I was a danger to the public, Richard. I was a danger to, right, people that are in this church now that work hard, that do everything the normal way, right? The normal way for me was drinking violence, Richard. So, I mean, like I said, the public was better off without me.
So you're now in prison.
Yes,
What
sir.
was life like in prison as a violent alcoholic? How did you approach prison? What did you do when you got there? How did you live your life in prison?
Well, Richard, yeah, Richard, when I went to jail, I knew best. Does that make sense? I knew best, right? I didn't know that, the word I'll use, that the Lord would change my life the way it is now. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah? Right? The way my life is now compared to my life then, right? I mean, I went into jail, and Richard, in jail, you've got to, and the only word I'll use here is, yeah, but I think you'll know what I mean when I say it. Kill or be killed is survive or survive. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Survive or let people take advantage of you. Does that make sense?
It does. Now, so before you said that prayer,
Yes.
come back a bit. How did you survive in prison?
How did I survive? I survived day by day, Richard, and Richard got through. That's the only word I'll use. Got through. I didn't survive, I got through. I had tussles. I had face-to-face confrontation. I had confrontation where, if this makes sense what I'm going to say to you, Richard, that I got in with the right crowd. The right crowd for the jail. Not the right crowd, normal people like now. The normal people in jail. The people who are big, the people that are violent, the people that control things. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely, yes, yeah.
Right? So I had to live that life, Richard. Because if I didn't, right, if I did not, right, I could not have survived. Does that make sense?
Well, I've never been to prison, but I believe that it does make sense.
Right?
And you have to do what you have to do, or you had to at that particular time.
Yes, correct.
So did you ever get into trouble with any of the prison officers?
Well, Richard, how can I say this? I'll just say, Richard, I've just answered the question before, but I will repeat it a little bit more thoroughly. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right, Richard. Then, there are them and there are us. Does that make sense? Right? The prison officers and there's the prisoner. Does that make sense? So, right? They're doing a job. I know that now. Are you with me? But when it was then, right? Go away from me. Don't speak to me. Right? Yeah? And if they said the wrong thing, if confrontation come, where you get twisted up, you'd go down the block, yeah? You'd have nothing, and you'd just have your food. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah? Because, Richard, you have got to be punished for what you do. For what you do. I mean, Richard, right? Yeah? Richard, in a situation like that, yeah, right? I've got to survive, Richard, me. I've got to survive. I've also got to, right, them people that I am with, I have got to let them know that I don't want to know them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Does that make sense, Richard? Yeah? I mean, Richard, I mean, like I said, everything I'm going to say is the truth. It took me a long time, Richard. It took me a long, long time. You've known me a long time. That lady hasn't. There's another lady over there. God bless him. Right? But Richard, it took me a long time to understand. Yeah? And I hope this answers the question. That, right, police officers and prison officers are only doing a job to put food on the table. Right? Now, Richard, when I say that now, that is Brett now. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I've seen a change.
Yeah, right? But in 2005, 2007, up till about 2015, right? Richard, they were out to get me. Does that make sense?
Yes.
They're out to get me. And a lot of people, right, who I'll just say, who haven't give their life away. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? Will still think like that now.
Yes, absolutely.
Are you with me?
So, but when you were living in Reading, when
Yes.
you weren't in prison, where were you living?
When
When you were living in Reading, where was your home?
Richard, right, when I come out of jail, yes, in 2011 the first time. When I come out of jail, yeah, I got a flat straight facing probation on Vitchell Road.
Okay.
Right? Now on Vitchell Road, right, Richard, I moved into the flat on a Friday, yeah, right? Downstairs, there was alcoholics and drug addicts. Upstairs, there was drug addicts. Next door, there was drug addicts. The street is well known. The street is well known also for alcoholics. So I'm not looking for an excuse and blaming anybody. I've got my own mind. But I was set up to fail. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
So, Richard, some people in here must have gone through this themselves with the neighbour next door playing music loud at night, right? So when you've got that upstairs, downstairs, sideways, right? Yeah? And I have not got anything in my life. Are you with me? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Right? Richard, if you can't beat them, what do? You join them. Right? And I didn't need pushing in any shape or form to join them. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Now, Richard, with me, there are no half measures, Richard. Right? I want to drink, I'll drink. I'll drink properly. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Right? So, Richard, that is the life that, right, was very, very, very challenging for myself. Very, very challenging. Because it was challenging where, right, that I had nothing. I had nothing, Richard.
How did you get your money?
What do you mean?
How did you go about getting money to spend on alcohol?
Richard, I had money. I had money. Does that make sense? I had money to drink alcohol. But Richard, right, an alcoholic, Richard, right, in my eyes, right, with me, a bottle of cider was only £2, and it was strong, you know. 3 litres of cider, 7.5%, right? I'd drink until blackout and then wake up and start again. Does that make sense?
It does. I remember you telling me at some stage, some time ago, that people used to come and knock on your door and ask if they could get down there the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Richard, my flat, Richard, right, was how can I say it? Was a doss house. That's the only word I can use. Sorry if I've said something to upset anyone. But Richard, that house was a doss house. But Richard, that was the love that I never had.
Yeah.
That was the affection that I never had. right? Richard, I would quite easily, right, spend £40, right, as long as people stayed at my house and showed me that they loved me.
And how did they do that?
Pardon?
How did they show you they loved you?
Because Richard, they spoke to me normal. They spoke to me normal, yeah? They showed me affection that, right, is, oh, Brett, you all right, mate? Just them little words. Just a little word, mate. Oh, he's my friend. He's right with me. But the day after, when there was no money, they was never around. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
When they didn't come around, it was just straight back to when I was a child. Nobody cares. No, Richard, I used to look at myself and I used to say, why aren't people doing this? Why aren't people hanging around? Oh, they probably don't want to be seen walking around with me because I'm walking funny. They probably don't want to see me because I'm walking around and I look like a thug and a criminal. Do you know what I mean, Richard? Yeah. Because, Richard, it takes a lot, right, for somebody to show me that they care. Does that make sense? Right? Because, Richard, it is from an age of 4 and 5 years old, right, up until I'm 50-year-old, right, and I've still not had the love and affection, right, and I've tried every single way I can, right. So, Richard, what do you do? What do you do? Simple, Richard. I went down on my knees and I said, Father, you take this. You take it because I can't do this. I can't do it anymore. Because I knew myself, Richard, that when I come out of Warren Hill prison, May the 30th, 2017,
Okay.
I knew I was going to end up back where I were.
Okay, well, what we'll do now is I think it's a good time to take a break.
Okay.
And we'll come to that point again after a short break where people can have refreshments and a bit of cake. And thank you so much so far. Okay. And I know there's a lot more to come. Yeah. Some good stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for listening. Yeah, thank you.
For us. So see you in about 10 minutes. Okay, it's nice to hear a buzz of conversation in the room. Do come and rejoin your seats. Hopefully you've managed to get topped up. And let me welcome Richard and Brett back up to the stage. We can continue hearing their story. Thank you.
Right, Brett, that was really fascinating, what you said earlier. Just before we go on and move on to the next section, after you've said your prayers, as it were, or that time leading up to that, there was a lady asked me a question about where you got your alcohol in prison. How did you do that? So perhaps you'd like to just let us know how it all works.
Right. Used to buy Marmite off the canteen. Marmite. You used to be allowed to get every meal apples or oranges. Yeah. Just put them on the windowsill, let them go rotten, and I mean rotten. Then get a bucket. You get a bucket when you're cleaning of that. Get off the cleaners, right? Put all the rotten fruit in the bucket with Marmite. Yeah, right. Fill it with water, right. You brew it. And then after a while, the sediments will go on the bottom, which is the rotten fruit. Yeah, right? Put it into a cupboard. Leave it for weeks, but there'll be somebody already brewing stuff, so it will be constantly going. You will then have to go to the bucket in the cupboards where only the cleaners can go. So you get involved with the cleaners or you get a job on the cleaners, right? Then you take the gas off every morning. Just open the top a bit. Keep it, let it brew, where other people are brewing as well. So theirs would be brewed. Yours would take about a month to brew. And then you would constantly have drink all around the prison. Yeah, right? Now, if you're a trustee, yeah, they never, ever pull you up. So you get to a trustee, and then on a Friday night, when you get locked up and your door's locked, because on a Friday night, until the Monday morning you're locked up, you're only allowed to go out just for your meal. You go out in a straight line, you get your meal, you come straight back, go back into your cell. And that's how you got your alcohol. It is. And
thank you very much for that, Brett.
Gives you a bad head in the morning, though, trust me.
What I would say is, please don't try it at
home.
Oh. But just coming back on to the point that you were making. Now, the last time you left prison,
yes.
You decided to say a prayer.
Yes.
So what did you do? This was the morning you were leaving prison.
Yes.
What happened?
Right, the morning I was leaving prison, they opened the cell door. They said, right, Brett, I was in Norwich. I was in Lowestoft, in Norwich. Yeah, right. And Lowestoft is in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. So you get a bus. They give you get on the minibus from Lowestoft all the way to Norwich train station, right? Before I got on the bus, before I come out of Warren Hill Prison, I got on my knees and I just said, there were no prayer as in anybody else knows or anything. It was just my own little prayer, right? I got on my knees and I just said, Lord, right, I've had enough of this life, right? I've had enough of this life. 27 years of my life in jail. 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, 18 months, 5 months, 7 months, 16 months, and all this, that, the other. So that is when, right, the life sentence happened, and I just got on my knees and I just said, Lord, I've had enough of my life now. My life is finished, right? I've got choices now. I've got choices. I've got choices where I can go down the road where I've been down, right? Or I can go down the road where, Lord, take my life and see where we can go from there, right? And then, right, this is only my journey. This is my journey, right? I'm an alcoholic, right? Yeah. And when I come out of Warren Hill Prison, because I was working, right? Yes. I come out of Warren Hill Prison with 690 quid in my pocket. I'm an alcoholic here, right? I've got freedom. I've got everything else, right? From Norwich train station, on the tube, everything, went to Reading, 600 and odd pound in my pocket, right? I could have got a drink because it takes 4 hours for a strong can of beer to go out your system, right? By the time I got off the train and everything else, it would have been clear, right? But, right, that is when I know that my life changed, right? Because I have never, ever, ever done things that I do now. Never. Never, ever, ever done things that I do now, right? You know, I mean, I don't have a drink. I don't smoke a cigarette. I don't hang around with associates. I've got my own flat. I've got my bills all paid. Direct debits. I've got money in the bank. My cupboards are full, right? You know, and like I'm going to say now, yeah, this is Brett's journey now where, yeah, that things are still going now that I never ever thought that I would end up in a place of my own. You know, bills, everything else, just normality. I never thought that I'd have normality. I never thought that I'd have.
Put that back on. Yeah, I'll do it. So you never felt you'd have normality?
No.
There you go.
I never thought I'd have normality. Also, you know, when I say normality is, to me, peace and tranquility. Peace and tranquility were things that I would kick off about. I would behave not normally. It's just very, 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 very easy, I'd say now, for life that I have got. It's a very, very easy life where, right, the life that Jesus Christ and God has given me now is beyond. It is beyond my wildest dreams, you know. I mean, like I said at the beginning, I used to pray before I went into court and hope that I'd not go to jail, right? I pray now, and I know myself, yeah, that God is with me now. God is there for me, that, right, challenges that I sometimes sit in the house and I sometimes think to myself, how can how can my life be so good as it is now? You know, because it is, I mean, you've heard me talk about the life that I used to be. The life that I have got now is beyond my wildest dreams. It's beyond. That's all I can say. I mean, I can't say anything else. I mean, there are challenges now that I don't even have to worry. I don't worry about anything now, Richard.
I can think of one challenge that you've told me about is when they stopped some of your benefit once, and how you would have reacted to it in the old with the old Brett, and how you did actually act with it.
Right. They stopped my benefit. Yeah. There'd been some mix-up or something for everything. There'd been a mix-up where they'd stop the money, but they'd stop the money on this side, but not on that side. So, right, and like I said to Richard, that, right, I would have gone mad. I mean mad, right? I would have gone mad where, and I'm sorry for saying this, effing and blinding, everything else on the phone and everything, demanding my money, demanding it, right? And I just spoke with the lady on the phone, just like I'm speaking now, right? And she just said to me that, there's been a mix-up with the money, and you won't get the money until tomorrow, right? And I was tongue-tied, really, because what my head was telling me to say was, it's okay, it's not a problem, it's not a problem. And that's what I said. Now, the woman said to me, right, so you'll probably get the money tomorrow. I said, right, okay. I put the phone down, right, and I sat down and I thought to myself, no, this can't be right, because the things that you know, right, the things that would have, could have, and did was, you know, it was a complete different thing, right? I mean, while we're talking about that, Richard, right, I just want to say this, right? Where I live, it is a very quiet place, and there are some neighbours, good neighbours, right? There are good neighbours, and my neighbours say to me every morning, good morning, Brett, are we okay? That would have never happened. Never. The neighbours would have run away, Richard. They would have run away. That's point blank, you know.
I can remember when I first met you, you were in the Bale Hostel in Southcote.
Yes.
And you needed eventually, they said you had to leave the Bale Hostel.
Yes.
You'd done everything right.
Yep.
And you needed a place to stay.
Yes.
And we prayed for you to have the right place for you to live. And they offered you a place along the Oxford Road. What happened?
Well, Richard, they offered me a place. I had to get out of the hostel. Right? And, right, it was a case of the flat will do. The flat will do for me, right? And I will never, ever, ever forget this. Believe me. We was in Greyfriars Church, myself and Richard, and I said to Richard, they've turned me down for that flat, Richard. And this gentleman here said to me, Brett, keep praying, the flat will come, right? And I walked out of Greyfriars Cafe when Richard, right? And I thought to myself, no, because this flat was good. This flat was good, right? And Richard said to me, Brett, just keep praying, keep praying, keep praying. And now, right, I'm not saying that, right, well, I am saying actually, that my flat is the best flat that I have ever had, right? I do not hear a pin drop in the area I live in, right? My neighbours are all sensible people, is the word I use. Sensible and responsible people, right? Yes. Police officers live near where I live, right? There's an old people's home, and you can hear a pin drop at night. And, you know, I often sit in my flat and I think to myself, how have you done this? Right? How have you done this? And, you know, I mean, some people might agree with me here, some people might not, but, right? I haven't done this. I just have not done this, right? Right? He's just taken me and put his hand right over me, you know. And it touches me, you know. It touches me to say this because, right, it's not a dream. Does that make sense? It's not a dream. I'm not living in a dream. There are times when I sit in my flat and I think to myself, you're going to wake up here, and you're going to wake up, Brett, and you're going to end up back at Vatchel Road, right? But it isn't a dream, this. This is reality. This is reality, you know, right? You know, it's reality that I find very hard to believe, you know. Find very hard to believe, you know, right? I mean, if somebody would have said to me 5 years ago, Brett, you would not have a drink, right? I'd say you're talking rubbish. You're talking rubbish. You're absolutely talking rubbish, mate. Right? Because, and when I say this, I don't want people to, well, people are entitled to their own opinions. I was one of the main street drinkers in Reading. I was well known, right? I was everything, right? Right? You know? And now, you know, I just still can't believe that a power greater than myself, really, is just taking control. And basically, all I can say is, I've stopped acting as God. That's the only words I can use. It's no good me saying, oh, this happened, that happened, this happened. This is me, right, from when I was a child to the present day today, right? And, you know, right, I'll just say this very quickly, Richard, sorry, right?
That's okay.
Right, I was a mummy's boy, me. I was a mummy's boy, and I'll admit that. But my mother was not allowed to love me like she used to. Does that make sense? And, right, I don't even know where my mother's buried. I don't even know. I don't even know where my mother's buried. Right? But I know one thing. My mother will be looking on me, and my mother will be proud of me now. Because she did not see the finished article of today. She only saw the bad side of Brett, you know? But that's life.
Now, there are other people in your life who've seen the good side as well. Recently, you went and spoke with the probation service.
Oh, yes.
Tell us a little bit about that. What happened?
Right. Well, you see, because of my what's the word I'm looking for? Quickly, Brett, come
History?
on. No. Because of my conviction. Because of my conviction, I'm on license for 10 years. For 10 years, yeah? Right? And about, I think it was last month, I might be wrong, right? I got a phone call off my probation officer, right? Saying to me, Brett, will you come down to the office and have a talk with somebody, right? I said, yeah, no problems. I went down to the office, yeah? The sheriff, the main man of all the probation service, every probation officer for all over England was there, right? And I had to stand up and speak about my life now, right? And, right, I just could not believe that they would ask me to do that, you know? I was so privileged, you know? I was so privileged that, right, they have said to me that, yeah, they want me to go into the probation service and speak to people, right? Speak to people. Now, where has that come from? Where has that come from? Do you know what I mean, Richard?
Yes.
Where has that come from?
Where do you think it's come from?
Yeah, it's come from God and Jesus Christ. It's not come from me, Richard. It's not come from me. It has not come from me, right? And I'll say this, and Richard probably sick of hearing it, but I will say, right, I am not doing this. I haven't done this. I have not done this, right? Because if Brett had have had his way, right, Brett wouldn't be here, mate. That's as simple as. There are no ifs or buts. There are no ifs or buts, you know? I am so grateful, so grateful for the life I do lead now in Jesus Christ. That is no use me saying, oh, I did this, I did that, I did the other. I haven't done this. I have not done this. I have not done this. I have not. And that is all I can say, you know. That is all I can say, because I am grateful for the life now. I'm grateful, right? And there is no way that I've done this myself. That's as simple, Richard.
So you're actually putting something back in. You're being given a lot by God to live your life as it is.
Yes.
But you're giving things back as well. Are you involved in the AA meetings?
Pardon?
You're involved in the AA meetings?
Yeah. I mean, things come off.
Don't worry about it.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm still in AA. I've still got 5 sponsees. Yeah, and I still do the meetings, and I still tell people of my experience with alcohol, you know, and how things have turned around, you know. I mean, Richard, it's a case of, right, it's a case of, Richard, that, right, I just live life normal now, Richard. I live life normal. I live my life peaceful and happy.
Excellent.
I'm tranquil. I'm relaxed, right? I mean, Richard, I used to, right, people, if people knew me and they knew me in Reading, I was the shout, angry, aggressive person.
And that's all gone?
Richard, I don't even raise my voice anymore. I don't even know what that is, raising your voice, right? I say to you, Richard, plenty of times, right? I don't have problems, I only have solutions, right? The problem is Brett, right? Not using this and not handing it over and giving it away, you know? And that's it.
I think that sums up the situation absolutely superbly. So I'd say thank you very much indeed.
Thank
Brett.
you.
Thank you for sharing this all
Thank
with
you.
us, because I know how personal it is to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going down.
Brett, thank you ever so much. I think we can agree that stories are a powerful thing, and Brett has got a remarkable and a powerful story, and I don't know that any of us would want to come up the front and share some of the darkest things of our own lives, and so Brett, we thank you for coming today and sharing that with us and telling your story. It is remarkable, and yet in one sense, Brett's story is the story of every Christian believer. Now, granted, every Christian believer won't have had some of the challenges that Brett has faced. But if you know a Christian, you can ask them their story, and you're going to hear some similarities, where they're going to tell you that they have found freedom knowing Jesus Christ. And maybe listening to Brett's story, you've been wondering whether this kind of freedom is something that can be part of your own story. Maybe you've just felt that longing within you that you want to know that same freedom and change that Brett has been telling us about. And so we're going to spend just a few minutes, maybe the next 10 minutes or so, thinking about this together, thinking about this question, how is it that I can be free? How is it that I can be free too? Now, this is only a worthwhile question if you yourself are trapped in some way. But I think if we're all honest, we know what it is to feel trapped. I mean, especially after the lockdowns, we know what it is to be trapped. We know what it means to not be able to go where you want to go or to do what you want to do. But Brett has shared some examples of his own life where you felt trapped. Trapped in the circumstances of his youth. Trapped in alcoholism. Trapped in prison for a total of 27 years, and trapped in himself not being able to change. And maybe as you were hearing his story, some of these things resonated with you as well, that sense of being trapped. I think we all know what it is to feel trapped. Now, Adele, in her recent album, grasps this in some way. Now, Adele might not be your normal music that you listen to, but in her recent album, one of her songs, I think she kind of gets some of the essence of this. And she's listened to the world over because she's relatable. And I think what she says in one of her songs is relatable. She says, "Why am I obsessed about the things I can't control? Why am I seeking approval from people I don't even know? In these crazy times, I hope to find something I can cling on to, because I need some substance in my life, something real. Something that feels true." So she's trapped. She's trapped with this obsession for control, for approval, and she longs for some sense of substance in her life. And that's relatable with Brett's story as well, that need for approval and for belonging and love. And so, lots of people will sing along to Adele, knowing that that's their story as well. And funnily enough, the song that the song title is called "I Drink Wine." And so maybe that's why it's relatable for others as well. But notice that she says something quite profound in these lyrics. She says, "I need some substance in my life, something real, something that feels true." So Adele feels trapped by her search for substance in her life, and she feels that if she finds something that feels true, she's going to find some freedom. And I think she's onto something. And that's exactly what Brett's story has been about this evening. He has found not something that he feels to be true, but something that he knows to be true, and that has changed his life. So Adele, you're onto something. So where do we go? Where do we go to find what is true? Well, a couple of years ago, I was in an escape room. Raise your hand if you've ever been to an escape room. Have you ever done one of those? Yeah, they're great fun. They're a little bit strange. You're paying somebody to trap you in a room for an hour, and they're not cheap. And yet, as soon as you arrive, you're trying to finish the experience as quickly as possible. So they're quite a bizarre thing to do. And yet they are a lot of fun. Now, I did one for a friend's birthday, and it was a prison-themed escape room, Alcatraz, and you're trying to solve the puzzles to get out. And as I was doing it, I realized that there was some writing up on the wall. And the writing said John 8:32. John 8:32, which is a Bible passage from John's Gospel. Now, you might know what these verses are, particularly if you've watched The Shawshank Redemption, because these are quoted there as well. The words say this from John 8:32. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Maybe you know these words. These are words spoken by Jesus. Now, you could say that the truth set us free in the escape room because we were so bad at it that we had to get the manager to kind of call out clues and hints through the door to enable us to complete it and get out. But is that what Jesus means by finding freedom? Was Jesus just saying that if you find the right knowledge, you have the right set of beliefs, you can solve the puzzles of life, you can do all the right things and find freedom? I don't think so. Let's read this conversation that Jesus is having. I'll have it up on the screen here. So Jesus is talking to some Jews who've been following him. He says this, to the Jews who had believed him, Jesus said, if you hold to my teaching, you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. They answered him, we are Abraham's descendants and have never been slaves of anyone. How can you say that we shall be set free? Jesus replied, very truly I tell you, everyone who sins is a slave to sin. Now a slave has no permanent place in the family, but a son belongs to it forever. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. So do you hear what's going on in this conversation? Jesus is saying not only that he is the place to find the truth that's going to set you free, he is the truth. He says, if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. And a little later in the gospel, he says these famous words. He says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Essentially, what he's saying is that freedom comes not from what you know, but who you know. He's saying that freedom comes from knowing him. True freedom comes when we come to Jesus to make us free. Let me illustrate this to us with a set of keys. Now, we've all got one. You might have some in your pocket or in your bag with you. We've all got our set of keys. And let's say that one of these keys is the truth that's going to set us free. It's going to open that door and let us escape. Well, what are some of the other keys? Well, these are the things that we keep trying to go to. We keep trying in the lock, but they only keep us trapped. We keep giving them a go, but they won't turn, and we stay trapped. And Brett's talked about some of these things. Alcohol. That might be part of the story that you've related to this evening, where you keep trying alcohol to be the thing that's going to make you free. And yet, no matter how many times you kind of have a go in the lock, it doesn't seem to work. Maybe relationships, another thing that Brett mentioned. Having those relationships, whether it was the people coming through his flat or the women, trying those things to have that sense of belonging and freedom and escape. It might be success. Maybe it's career for you where you feel you're going to get this sense of freedom. Maybe that's the car key. Let's pretend this is a Lamborghini key. It's definitely not a Lamborghini key, but let's pretend. Maybe for you, success or having the best car is going to be that sense of freedom. But yet, no matter how many next steps you take, it doesn't get there for you. It might be religion, doing religious works to earn your way up to God. You've been trying that in the door to see if that gives you a sense of freedom, and yet it just doesn't seem to work. Now, you might say to me, well, surely if we're going to find out that, this is the true key, what Jesus is the true key, surely we've got to try all of the keys to know that that is actually the right one. But that's not how I'm going to go home tonight. I might, in the darkness, get the wrong key, but then when I find the right one, I'm going to let myself in. I'm not going to just try all the rest of the keys just to make sure. That's not how you're going to do it when you go home. Jesus is saying that these other keys are going to keep you trapped. You can keep jiggling it in the lock, trying to make it work, trying to find freedom with each of them. But ultimately, those things are just going to keep you left trapped and outside. Now and forever. That's the way that the Bible talks about these things. And Okay, that might sound unfair. But why is it? Why is it that throughout life we keep going back to those keys that we know won't work, and yet we keep trying them again and again in the door to find freedom? Well, we want them to work because all of us want to find freedom our own way, on our own terms, without God. Whether that's substances or success. We want to be in control of our freedom. We want it on our terms. And that can be true even of religion. Religion which says, I can make myself good enough. I want to earn my freedom. But the trouble with that even is that we can't make ourselves good enough. And so we end up trapped. And some people here this evening, you're like the people that Jesus is talking to who don't know that they're trapped. They don't want to believe that they're trapped. They think it's strange to be called slaves, and that's a strange word for us, but we don't like to believe that we are trapped, that we're trying the wrong key. Others of us here, you know that you're trapped, but you haven't yet turned to Jesus for help. And maybe there's something in Brett's story that has just prompted you to maybe make that decision this evening. And so let me finish by telling you why turning to Jesus, as Brett has done, is the best decision that you can make to find freedom. Reason number one is this: Jesus is the key to escape your old life. Jesus is the key to escape your old life. He has come and he's told us that he is the truth, that he is the way to freedom. Not only has he taught us that, but he has gone to the cross to make a way for you to be free. The good news of the Christian life is that Jesus has come to die in our place. You see, the guilt that comes from living a life where we know we keep trying the wrong keys rather than living for God, he takes them away. The good news is that Jesus comes to you and says, pass me your keys. Pass me all those things that you've gone to for freedom, things where you not want to go to God, but you've gone to these other things instead. He says, pass me your keys. And he pockets them. And he takes them to the cross. And he dies as if it was him that has done all those things. He has faced the judgment that we deserve. And he does it so that you can finally be free. Free from the guilt of those other keys which have kept you trapped for so long. And it's only he that can take those keys off you. Jesus is the one. He is the key to escape your old life. Now, you might be tempted to go back to trying those different keys at times, but he can free you from the power of those things. Why? How? Because in Jesus, you have found somebody who is better. Something that is better to live for. Why would you go back to all of these old keys that you know you're fumbling in the lock with and that never really satisfy and only ever leave you trapped, when you know that you found the key that has finally brought you life? With Jesus, you have something better. He has broken the power of those old things, and that is what Brett has known. That freedom to escape his old life. The second reason why it's the best decision you can make is that Jesus is the key to enter your new home. So get this, he's not just the key to escape, thinking of the escape room, the key that's going to get you out. He is the key that lets you into a new life, a new home, welcome in the family of God. Remember what Jesus said. He said, a slave has no place in the family, but a son belongs in the family forever. Jesus died so that you can find your way into God's family. So he takes your old keys, the ones that you've been fumbling around with, and he gives you the new one. Jesus gives you himself that you might be welcome in the family of God. Now, it's a gift. We couldn't earn it. We don't deserve it. And yet Jesus gladly goes to the cross that you might have that way into the family of God. All who trust Jesus are welcome in the presence of God, adopted by God and loved Remember Brett's story? You've been telling us about how he's longed for that sense of belonging, longed for affection, and yet turning away from his old life and turning to Jesus, he has found his home. And isn't that real freedom? We often think that freedom is the freedom to do whatever we want, whenever we want to. But we know that we mess that up. No, real freedom is being free to come home, to belong, to be secure, to live in the love of God. And even in that, to be free to fail. As a believer, you can fluff it up. You can get it wrong and know that you are still welcome in God's family, fully and perfectly loved by him, more loved than you dare imagine. That's freedom. Freedom to get it wrong and know that you are still welcome and loved. That sounds great to me. Is that your story? Have you found that yet? Do you want that? Well, what are you going to do? Are you going to go on trying those keys that you know will never fully satisfy and which ultimately keep you trapped? Or are you going to trust Jesus? Are you going to listen to Brett's story of the God who has changed him and set him free? The God who has come to this earth, who's dealt with the messiness and joined us in the brokenness of this world, who has lived amongst us and gone, look, the truth is here, freedom is here, and who has gone to the cross and who has risen again to show you that he's telling the truth. He is the way to life. Well, the first step is to hand over your old keys. By doing that, you're saying that you know that you were looking in the wrong places. You weren't looking to God. And that you need Jesus to die for them and forgive you for them. That's Brett's story. He has laid his keys at the foot of the cross and found freedom. That's my story. And it's the story of everybody following Jesus. Is that your story too? I'm going to finish our time by praying. I want to give you the opportunity to respond to God this evening. So what I'm going to do is I'll ask you all just to close your eyes, to respect others in the room who may want to pray. And if you know that you've been looking for life in the wrong places away from God, and you want to come to Jesus for life, then at the end of my prayer, just in your own heart, quietly, you can say, Amen. If you'd like to, you can raise your hand to say yes. Raise it in the air. No one will see you. I'll see you. If this is the first time that you want to ask Jesus to come and to save you, let me pray. Father God, thank you for sending Jesus. Thank you that he shows us the way to life and that he has come to be the way to life. Lord, I am sorry that I've got it wrong so many times. I have wanted to live my way and not your way. Please forgive me. Thank you for sending Jesus to die for me and to give me new life in him. In Jesus' precious and powerful name I ask. Amen. If you've prayed that prayer, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to speak to you afterwards to help you begin this new life with Jesus. On your tables, you'll see that there is a feedback form. And in just a moment, I'm going to get everybody to fill one of those out. If you've come along tonight and you're not ready to make that kind of commitment, but Brett's story has got you asking questions, then there's a box on the feedback form that you can tick, and we'd love to get in touch with you, to listen to you, to hear your story, and to talk about some of your questions. There's also a space on the feedback form just to share how you've enjoyed this event this evening, how we could make it better. We love putting on these events to share stories and to talk about Jesus, so if you think of a way of making it better, you can let us know on there as well. So If you're watching online and you want to get in touch, go to our website and you can find an email and phone number there. Go to kvfc.org.uk and we'd love to hear from you. So I'm going to give us all just a minute now to fill out that feedback form. So go ahead and do that. And when you've done it, you can either leave it on your chair when you go or hand it to a steward. But let me give us a minute to do that, and then I'll round off the evening for us. We've come to the end of our evening together. So thank you very much to all of you for coming out this evening. Let us just show our appreciation to Brett and to Richard for interviewing and sharing that story with us. Thank you so much. Brett's going to be around for a few minutes. If you want to chat to him and ask him any questions, he'll be around here. So do grab him. He'd love to speak to you. Also, let's just show our thanks to Susie, who's been performing for us this evening. She's going to play just a couple of songs now. Feel free to stay and listen to them or to head out. Also, if you'd like someone to pray with, we're going to have Kate and Roy down the front here. If you want someone to listen to you and to pray for you, then speak to them. They would love to chat with you. So why not speak to them as well? Just a couple of things to make you aware of as well. On your tables, you'll see two flyers. One says Heaven Sent. This is our Christmas program. If you want to know what's going on at Christmas, we've got a drive-in carol service down at the Beansheaf Community Centre and other events going on that you'll be very welcome to come along to. Take a look at that. Also, we're aware that one of the times that we can feel really trapped is when our finances are in a bad way. And we run a CAP money course, Christians Against Poverty money course. It's 3 sessions. We're going to be running one in January. It's a really friendly environment just to chat through how you might budget and save and spend well. And if that's a way that we can help you, do take that and come along. We'd love to see you there as well. But thank you ever so much for joining us this evening. It's been great to have you. God bless.